You're watching MH Nation. Get the latest NBA news, transfer rumors, and match updates fast. Like, share, and subscribe to stay ahead of the game.
Lakers Nation, stop what you're doing because the Lakers may have just uncovered the biggest hidden gem of the entire offseason, and somehow almost nobody is talking about it. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments whether you think this signing could become one of Rob Pelinka's smartest low-risk moves yet. Every offseason, fans become obsessed with blockbuster trades, superstar free agents, and first-round draft picks. Those headlines dominate television, social media, and every basketball discussion imaginable. But sometimes the move that changes everything doesn't happen on draft night with flashing cameras and loud celebrations. Sometimes it happens quietly, almost unnoticed, while everyone else is looking in another direction. That might be exactly what happened with the Los Angeles Lakers. As soon as the NBA draft ended, the Lakers wasted no time adding another name to their organization. Instead of making a flashy announcement, they signed Robbie Avila to an Exhibit 10 contract after he went completely undrafted. At first glance, many fans probably ignored the news. After all, every team signs undrafted players after the draft. Most never make an NBA roster, and many spend their careers in the G League or overseas. But this situation feels different. If you followed college basketball over the last couple of years, you've almost certainly heard Robbie Avila's name before. Even if you didn't watch his games regularly, chances are you saw one of his incredible passes, one of his long-range three-pointers, or one of the countless highlight clips that spread across social media. He became one of college basketball's most entertaining players because his game simply didn't look like everyone else's. Standing at 6'10", Avila isn't built like the modern athletic center that dominates today's NBA. Instead of relying on explosive dunks or incredible vertical athleticism, he beats opponents with timing, vision, patience, and basketball intelligence. Watching him play often feels like watching someone who is thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of everyone else on the floor. That unique approach quickly made him one of the most recognizable big men in college basketball. During his first years at Indiana State, he steadily improved until becoming one of the best offensive centers in the country. His final season there was especially impressive. He averaged 17.4 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game, while serving as the centerpiece of the offense. Those numbers alone would grab attention, but statistics never told the full story. The most fascinating part of Avila's game wasn't simply scoring points. It was the way he created opportunities for everyone around him. Most centers catch the ball near the basket, make a quick move, or kick it back outside. Robbie Avila saw the floor differently. He consistently found cutters, delivered perfectly timed bounce passes, threw cross-court lasers to open shooters, and controlled the pace of the offense almost like a point guard trapped inside a center's body. That unusual combination of size and playmaking immediately caught the attention of basketball fans everywhere. Naturally, comparisons started appearing. Some fans even began mentioning Nikola Jokic whenever Avila stepped on the floor. To be clear, nobody seriously believes Robbie Avila is the next Jokic. Comparing any young player to a multiple-time MVP is incredibly unfair, but it's easy to understand where those comparisons come from. Like Jokic, Avila loves passing first. He enjoys making teammates better. He reads defenses patiently instead of forcing difficult shots. He manipulates defenders with his eyes and anticipates cuts before they happen. Those similarities don't make him another Jokic, but they certainly make him one of the most intriguing offensive prospects available after the draft. His popularity continued growing after transferring to St. Louis for his final collegiate season. Instead of struggling in a new environment, he adapted quickly and once again proved that his skill set translated wherever he played. He averaged 12.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and another impressive 4.1 assists, while shooting around 40% from beyond the three-point line. His production earned him Atlantic 10 Player of the Year honors and strengthened his reputation as one of the smartest players in college basketball. What made fans fall in love with Avila wasn't just the production, it was his personality. He embraced the spotlight without taking himself too seriously. His unique look, his confidence, and his entertaining style of play inspired some of the funniest nicknames in basketball. Fans called him Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Milk Chamberlain, Larry Nerd, Larry Blur, Steph Blurry, and even College Jokic. Those nicknames spread everywhere because they perfectly captured the idea that Avila wasn't trying to fit into anyone else's mold. But despite all the creativity, all the highlights, and all the college success, something surprising happened on draft night. 60 selections came and went. Every NBA franchise had multiple opportunities to call his name. None of them did. That immediately raised one huge question. If Robbie Avila was truly this talented, why did every single team pass on him? The answer is also the biggest concern surrounding his future. NBA scouts weren't questioning his basketball IQ. They weren't questioning his shooting touch or his passing ability. They were questioning something much harder to teach: athleticism. His foot speed, lateral quickness, defensive mobility, and ability to stay in front of elite NBA athletes became major concerns throughout the pre-draft process. For many front offices, those physical limitations outweighed everything else he brought to the table. Yet while 30 organizations focused on what he couldn't do, the Lakers may have focused on everything he already could. And that decision could end up becoming one of the most fascinating stories of the entire offseason. The Lakers have built championship teams around superstar talent, but history also shows that successful organizations often separate themselves by identifying overlooked players before everyone else catches on. Not every contributor arrives as a lottery pick. Sometimes the biggest difference makers begin their journey fighting for every opportunity, determined to prove that every team that passed on them made a mistake. That is exactly the position Robbie Avila finds himself in today. An Exhibit 10 contract doesn't guarantee an NBA future. In reality, it simply opens the door. It gives a player the opportunity to compete during Summer League, impress coaches throughout training camp, and potentially earn a two-way contract or even a spot on the regular season roster. If that doesn't happen immediately, the agreement also encourages the player to remain with the team's G League affiliate, where development continues within the same organization. For a player like Avila, that path may actually be ideal. Instead of entering a crowded situation where expectations are unrealistic, he now joins a franchise that has every reason to evaluate him carefully. The Lakers aren't asking him to become a star overnight. They simply want to discover whether his elite basketball instincts can translate against faster, stronger, and more athletic professional competition. That's where things become incredibly interesting. The modern NBA has evolved into a league built around spacing, shooting, decision-making, and versatility. While athleticism remains essential, teams also place enormous value on players who process the game quickly. Coaches constantly talk about making the right read, moving the ball, creating advantages, and playing unselfishly. Those happen to be some of Robbie Avila's greatest strengths. Imagine him operating from the high post, reading the defense, delivering quick passes to backdoor cutters, or finding open shooters after drawing help defenders. Those are skills that don't disappear simply because the competition becomes tougher. The speed of the game changes, but vision, anticipation, and feel for basketball often remain valuable at every level. Of course, optimism has to be balanced with reality. The concerns surrounding Avila didn't appear out of nowhere. NBA offenses relentlessly attack defensive weaknesses. If opposing guards believe they can beat a slower defender off the dribble, they'll continue targeting that matchup until coaches are forced to adjust. Every possession matters, and every defensive mistake gets magnified against the best players in the world. That means Summer League won't simply be about his passing highlights or three-point shooting. Scouts will be watching how quickly he rotates on defense. They'll monitor his conditioning, his positioning, his ability to recover after switches, and how effectively he protects the paint without elite athleticism. Every possession becomes part of the evaluation. That's why these next few weeks could completely reshape the narrative surrounding him. If he struggles defensively, many people will argue the draft process was correct all along. They'll point to the concerns that caused every franchise to pass on him and claim the NBA game is simply too fast. But if he holds his own defensively while showcasing the offensive creativity that made him famous in college, suddenly the conversation changes entirely. Instead of asking why he went undrafted, people will begin asking how every team overlooked him. That's the opportunity sitting in front of him. It's also worth remembering that the Lakers have nothing to lose by making this move. This isn't a massive financial commitment. It isn't a blockbuster trade that mortgages the future. It's a calculated gamble with very little downside and potentially significant upside. Those are exactly the kinds of moves smart front offices should continue making. Every organization searches for hidden value. Sometimes that value comes from overseas. Sometimes it comes from the G League. Sometimes it comes from veteran free agents willing to accept smaller roles. And occasionally, it comes from an undrafted player whose skill set simply didn't fit traditional scouting expectations. Basketball history is filled with players who heard their names called late or never heard them at all and still built impressive NBA careers. Going undrafted doesn't automatically define a player's ceiling. In many cases, it becomes extra motivation. Robbie Avila has spent his entire basketball journey answering questions about what he supposedly couldn't do. People questioned whether he could dominate in college. He did. People questioned whether his unique style would work after transferring schools. He adapted immediately. Now the questions are even bigger. Can he survive defensively against NBA athletes? Can his shooting remain consistent from the professional three-point line? Can his passing create the same advantages against elite defenders? Can his basketball IQ compensate for physical limitations? Those answers won't come from interviews or social media debates. They'll come on the court. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know whether you believe Robbie Avila deserves a real opportunity to compete for a roster spot, or if you think he'll spend most of next season developing in the G League. One thing is already certain. Lakers fans will have another reason to watch Summer League closely. Normally, fans tune in to see first-round draft picks begin their professional careers. This year, many eyes may instead focus on an undrafted center carrying enormous expectations despite receiving very little national attention. Every smart pass, every made three-pointer, every impressive defensive possession, and every successful adjustment will become part of the conversation. Because sometimes the most fascinating player isn't the one everyone expected. Sometimes it's the one everyone overlooked. Now the spotlight officially shifts from scouting reports to real basketball. Every evaluation, every projection, and every debate will finally be tested once Robbie Avila steps onto the floor wearing a Lakers uniform. That's where opinions start changing. Highlight reels are exciting, college awards are impressive, and advanced statistics certainly matter, but nothing carries more weight than proving yourself against professional competition. For the Lakers coaching staff, this is the perfect environment to evaluate every aspect of his game. They already know he can pass. They already know he understands spacing. They already know he can stretch the floor with reliable outside shooting. What they need to discover is whether those strengths remain impactful when every defender is quicker, stronger, and more experienced than anything he faced in college. Summer League will provide that first glimpse. Every possession will become an opportunity. Every assist will reinforce the idea that his vision is special. Every made three-pointer will remind people why defenders can't simply leave him alone. Every defensive stop will help erase the doubts that caused him to go undrafted. At the same time, every mistake will become another lesson in what it takes to survive at the highest level. That's exactly why this signing deserves far more attention than it has received. Too often, fans judge off-season moves only by the biggest headlines. They focus on superstar trades, max contracts, and first-round selections while ignoring the smaller decisions happening behind the scenes. Yet championship organizations consistently find value where other teams fail to look. Development has always been one of the most important parts of building a successful franchise, and uncovering hidden talent can become just as valuable as signing established stars. The Lakers clearly believe Robbie Avila is worth investing time in. Whether he ultimately earns a two-way contract, spends most of the year with the South Bay Lakers, or eventually fights his way onto the NBA roster, this opportunity gives him something every undrafted player desperately wants: a legitimate chance. Now everything depends on how he responds. Will he continue proving doubters wrong the way he has throughout his entire basketball journey? Will his intelligence, patience, and elite feel for the game outweigh the athletic concerns that scared every team away? Or will those concerns ultimately prove impossible impossible to overcome against NBA competition? Those questions are exactly what make this story so compelling. The truth is that nobody can honestly answer them today. What we can say is that the Lakers identified a player with exceptional basketball instincts, impressive shooting ability, outstanding court vision, and the confidence to embrace difficult challenges. Those qualities cannot be ignored. Even if his path to the NBA becomes longer than expected, his skill set gives him a real opportunity to keep developing and force people to take another look. And if he succeeds, this signing could eventually be remembered as one of the smartest low-risk moves of the entire offseason. Imagine looking back a year from now and realizing that while everyone was celebrating the draft's biggest names, the Lakers quietly added one of its biggest surprises after the draft had already ended. That's exactly how unexpected success stories begin. They rarely announce themselves with fireworks. Instead, they grow one practice, one game, and one opportunity at a time, until suddenly everyone is asking the same question. How did every other team miss this player? Robbie Avila now has the opportunity to answer that question himself. The Lakers have opened the door. Now it's up to him to walk through it. Before we wrap things up, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more Lakers news, rumors, roster updates, and in-depth analysis all off-season long, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another update. Your support helps the channel continue bringing you the latest stories surrounding the purple and gold. This is one of those signings that may not dominate national headlines today, but it could become one of the most interesting developments to follow over the coming months. Every practice, every summer league performance, and every opportunity will bring new evidence about whether the Lakers truly discovered a hidden gem or simply took a worthwhile chance on a uniquely talented player. Either way, this is a storyline worth watching closely. Now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. Do you believe Robbie Avila has what it takes to earn a spot on the Lakers roster and become the team's next undrafted success story? Or do you think he'll need a full season of development before he's ready for the NBA? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.